Welcome to Wisdom of the Bible channel.
Since the dawn of human history, empires have risen from the sands of time and vanished like shadows at dusk, leaving behind only ruins, legends, and unanswered questions. Yet among all these forgotten peoples, there is one that remains shrouded in mist and controversy: the Amalekites. Few people know, but they were the first to rise against the Israelites right after the dramatic crossing of the Red Sea. According to ancient accounts, the Amalekites descended from Amalek, the grandson of Esau, Jacob's brother. They were therefore blood relatives of the Israelites, but this connection did not prevent a bloody rivalry that led to centuries of relentless conflict. Some say they were wiped out, others believe they hid among other peoples, scattered by the twists of history. Throughout the centuries, few names have carried as much weight and mystery as Amalek, his name echoing through millennia in ancient scriptures. In Hebrew, his original pronunciation is rendered as Amalek, a name that to the ancient Israelites represented not just a people, but a constant threat. Despite their historical significance, the etymology of the name Amalek remains a mystery that most contemporary scholars admit is uncertain. Timnah was a Horite woman of enigmatic origin, a concubine whose mixed ancestry suggests Amalek carried a rare combination of Semitic and Indo-European heritage. The Horites were known for their expertise in metallurgy, horsemanship, and military organization, leaving a significant legacy in various ancient empires. Among the many layers of Amalek's story, there is a detail that often goes unnoticed in the figure of his mother, Timnah. Amalek emerges as one of the chiefs or princes of Edom, described as having leadership over a clan despite his socially inferior origin. In the Oracle of Balaam recorded in Numbers, Amalek is called the first of the nations, a phrase sparking intense debate over the centuries. Biblical records place the Amalekites in strategic regions of the southern Levant, particularly in the Negev Desert and the Sinai Peninsula. The first recorded clash between the Israelites and the Amalekites occurs shortly after the Hebrews' departure from Egypt at Rephidim. The Amalekites ambushed the weary Israelites treacherously, catching them off guard in one of their first stops after crossing the Red Sea. This attack marks the beginning of an endless conflict between two peoples, a moment that would echo through generations. Upon seeing the attack, Moses commands Joshua to lead the men into battle while he ascends a nearby hilltop with Aaron and Hur. What follows becomes one of the most symbolically rich episodes in the entire Old Testament, demonstrating the power of faith and prayer. Whenever Moses kept his hands raised in prayer, the Israelites prevailed in the battle below. When Moses' arms grew weary and fell, Aaron and Hur supported his arms, standing beside him throughout the long conflict. This seemingly simple gesture became a testament to Israel's deep dependence on divine intervention rather than military strength alone. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel to support us. It helps us spread the word and create more videos for you. Despite their defeat at Rephidim, the Amalekites did not disappear but continued to haunt Israel for generations. They reappeared throughout various books of the Old Testament, almost always as a reminder of vulnerability when straying from divine will. The persistent Amalekite threat created an almost mythological cycle, transforming them into an archetype of evil and relentless opposition. Under the reign of Saul, Israel's first king, God commands complete destruction of the Amalekites as divine judgment for their past actions. This divine judgment was pronounced for their treacherous actions against the freed Hebrew slaves in the wilderness. However, Saul spares King Agag and keeps the best of the spoils, disobeying the command delivered through the prophet Samuel. The prophet Samuel confronts Saul about his disobedience, declaring that partial obedience equals rebellion against divine command. This failure marks a dramatic turning point in Israel's monarchic history as Saul loses his throne due to this act of disobedience. Samuel the prophet fulfills the divine command that Saul had ignored by executing King Agag in a solemn act of judgment. During David's reign, the Amalekites launch a devastating attack and plunder Ziklag, where the families of David's warriors lived. David organizes a swift counteroffensive to recover both people and possessions, demonstrating his leadership as the anointed future king. The last explicit mention of the Amalekites occurs in the Book of Esther, set within the vast multicultural Persian Empire. There we encounter Haman the Agagite, plotting the annihilation of Jews throughout the vast empire in a sinister conspiracy. Many scholars identify Haman as a descendant of King Agag, suggesting ancestral hatred surviving centuries between the two peoples. Modern archaeological excavations in the Negev region have revealed fascinating clues about the Amalekites' actual existence. Sites like Tel Massos show evidence of fortified settlements and copper production from the biblical period, corresponding to ancient conflicts. These archaeological findings reveal strategic economic motivations behind military campaigns, as controlling copper meant securing military advantages. Ancient copper production operations secured vital resources for weapons and tools in the hostile desert landscape of the ancient Near East. Fortresses like Tel Isdar demonstrate the constant territorial struggle over trade routes and natural resources in this region. An inevitable question arises: did the Amalekites truly vanish, or were they gradually absorbed by other peoples over time? Modern Middle Eastern peoples may represent possible Amalekite remnants, intermingled with other Semitic tribes through centuries of migration. The answer lies in the inevitable entanglement of ancient cultures through trade routes, conquest, and constant movement in the region. This cultural assimilation process was common in regions shaped by constant movement, conflict, and the blending of neighboring peoples. Modern inhabitants of Jordan, Israel, and Palestine may carry potential Edomite and Amalekite genetic traces in their ancestry. Jordanian Bedouins near Mount Seir show genetic markers that trace back to ancient Edomite lineages from biblical times. The Edomites were still present during Jesus' time in the 1st century before disappearing from historical records thereafter. Many ancient peoples survived through conversion to Judaism and integration through intermarriage with neighboring populations. The Amalekite story serves as a powerful reminder that opposition to divine purposes cannot ultimately prevail against the sovereign plan. Their gradual disappearance from history demonstrates that divine justice, though sometimes delayed, is always certain in the end. The journey from desert ambushes to palace conspiracies spans from ancient battlefields to modern archaeological studies. This transformation from historical enemies to absorbed populations shows time's healing of ancestral wounds through integration. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and